here today at my home yard, trying to finish up getting second boxes added on some of the scattered singles. I'm behind on getting that done. My voice is pretty weak. I've been sick for, God, 3 weeks now, and it's got me behind. But I think I'm all right. Maybe a little late on some of these hives, especially in this yard. This yard has got a lot of genetics left from the LSU bee lab down in LSU in Baton Rouge. Created a bee called the God, I can't remember what it's called now. Shoot, I can't think of the name of it, but they created a bee that's really mite resistant, and they brood up really fast. The earliest brooding bees that I've ever seen, they're usually getting ready to swarm by mid-March. But I haven't fed as much early on as I usually do, so I think I'm going to be all right with these. There's only a couple of singles here anyway, so there's nothing to worry about. But that's what I'm doing today, getting the singles, getting a second box on those, and giving them some room to keep expanding until we split. I'm gonna start splitting like the 3rd week of March. I'm gonna start making some splits on the strongest hives. The ones that are ready to split, I'll start splitting at that time. And yeah, just gonna be looking through a lot of these hives and getting a good idea of where they're at, giving them some room. Gonna build a couple of cell starters today. Get ready to start grafting for those splits that I'll be making here in a couple of weeks. And yeah, spring is here. Sure don't feel like it. Hadn't had much of a break, but it's always exciting to get started back. I get sick of it by the end of the year, but by this time of year, I'm ready to get back in them. And yeah, I'm gonna get that done today, and just get a good assessment of what's going on and get ready to start grafting and making splits. So that first hive that opened up, just for reference, I know a lot of you want to know what other beekeepers are seeing, especially like this time of year. This is the first one I've been in. I'm going to go in a lot more and just get a feel for what's going on. But this hive's got about, it's a double deep, got about 10 frames of bees, 10, 11 frames. Only about 5 frames, 5.5, 6 frames maybe of brood. And I am seeing a lot of drones walking around the hive. It's kind of surprising, being that I'm not feeding these bees. But I did see a couple of frames with a good bit of fresh nectar on them, and the open larvae in there is very well fed, so we are getting some nectar coming in. I couldn't tell you what it is. Trying to look around here and show you what we got blooming. I don't see any right now, but we do have I call it a calorie pear is the real name of them there. The first thing that blooms in the spring here in central Alabama anyway is wild pears. They don't actually fruit. What they actually are is the seedlings off of Bradford pears, and they have spread everywhere and just taken over the woods in a lot of places. I don't know how much benefit they are. Honestly, I don't remember ever seeing any bees forage on them, but I have heard of people seeing them at various times. And so maybe they're getting some off of that. I don't know. We do have a ton of those blooming now. We got red buds blooming. Maple's probably winding down now, if not already finished. Still got a lot of dandelions and henbit. I really don't know what else they may be getting right now, but they are getting some nectar from something, and it's showing in the hive. It's showing in the brood also, which is the biggest thing, the best thing to see is some well-fed brood and some drones in the hive. So those of you that graft, there's a little bit of reference for you on timing. I'm here in central Alabama, Chilton County and Watauga counties. So I am seeing drones in this first hive, at least anyway. I'm going to see what kind of drones I see in other places, but so far that looks good. I like to. A lot of people likes to see. They call it, purple-eyed drones, where those larvae begins to get purple eyes and start to, just before they start getting color in their bodies. A lot of people likes to reference that before they start grafting, and those drones will be emerged out by the time their grafts are ready. I like to wait a little longer than that. I want to have a good population of drones prior to grafting. I don't want to push the timing of breeding queens to where you're risking having queens that are not well bred, because it's just not worth it. It's a complete waste of time if you miss that timing. So I don't see any reason to push it, and I like to have plenty of drones walking around in the hive before I start grafting. And so far, just this hive I've checked for drones here, I'm seeing that. So if I continue to see that in other hives, I know that it's a good time for me to start grafting. These singles that I'm mainly here for today kind of look like this. I know I'm going to run across a lot of them that's going to probably be 10 frames of bees, because it's already the second week of March. I usually do this in the middle of February, but anyway, it's the middle of March. This one's got, I don't know, seven frames of bees, but that may seem like they got a little time left, but I guarantee you, looking in there's going to be 5 frames of brood probably in that box. And you come and look next week, and there'll be at least 10 frames of bees in that hive, and they'll be probably starting to swarm, possibly, but they'll definitely have enough bees to swarm. So what I'm doing, adding this second box, I've got a bunch of stored drawn comb. I'm just making these boxes up with some mixed drawn comb and some new foundation. Like this one, I got 1, 2, 3, got four drawn out combs, and got the rest, got 6 new foundations. And I'll use that to draw some more extra foundation. Take advantage of the honey flow, nectar coming in the spring to get frames drawn out. So always add in some new foundation when you can. So that's what I'll be doing with adding these second deeps on, is probably pretty much like that with all of them. Four frames or so of drawn comb, and 5 or 6 frames of new foundation. This is one of our fall splits, made back in probably August. This is pretty typical of what to expect second week of March. That started with 2 frames of bees, most likely, maybe 3 frames of bees, and a queen cell in August. And now it's pretty cold this morning, so they're tightly clustered in there. So that's probably a little more bees than what it really looks like. That's probably nearly a box full of bees. At least 8 frames, maybe 9 or 10 frames of bees. But those queens, they are about to start laying like crazy. Nothing outpaces those queens that are produced in the fall. They are the perfect age. and they will make the most honey of any hives that we have. I've said that before, and it just stands true every year. They continue to be the best producers that we have every year. Those are well worth making in the fall, making those splits and putting some fresh queen cells in, or a newly mated queen, however you make up splits. That box right there will be swarming very soon if I don't get something on them. And I'll take that split, I'll take that hive right there down in the next couple weeks. We'll knock it down to probably 2 or 3 frames of brood, and make splits with the rest of it. And by the time the honey flow starts, second week of April or so, that thing will be getting ready to swarm again out of a double brood box. It'll be jam-packed with bees again. Probably have to take frames out of it again just prior to the honey flow, just to make sure they don't swarm just prior or at the very beginning of the honey flow. We want them to really peak after, I would say, a couple of weeks at least after the honey flow. The good part of the honey flow starts. So that's just how fast that these fall mated queens grow. They just nothing can keep up with them. Bees may be out to be a liar on the wild pear trees. I did find, first time I ever remember seeing them, found a bunch of bees yesterday getting nectar off of Bradford pears. It's about the same thing. Back out here today, I'm going to continue adding these second deeps to what singles I have, and going to set up a cell starter here. A little late with my cell starters, about 2 weeks behind from what I usually start, but that's fine. I'm going to set up a cell starter today and start grafting tomorrow. A lot of people set them up like that a day ahead of time, but honestly I like to set them up about a week ahead of time. Set it up full of frames of cap brood, and all those have emerged out pretty good within a week. And I don't know, I don't seem to get as many cells drawn when I do it the next day or even a couple days later, but a week later is the prime time. I guess you could start immediately after, and you know, you get more cells, get more grafting out of it with those bees before they age out. But anyway, today I'm going to set it up, start grafting tomorrow. I'll show you the cell starter, and one of the ways that I graft. I set up cell starters different ways, and sometimes I do a starter and a finisher. Sometimes I'll do a starter and finisher together in one box. I'll leave it the whole time. I do different ways. They all have benefits. You can separate them and kind of keep a cycle going to make more cells, or you can just set more boxes up to act as a starter and finisher. It's more boxes you set up, the more work it takes. It takes a lot of work to keep cell starters and finishers going, for sure. It's time consuming. It takes a lot of work. But I'm going to get that set up. I'll show you how I'm going to set this one up. I'm going to use a 10 frame box and set it up, 10 frames of bees, and just pack full. So we'll get that set up and get our queens started for the season. Got my starter made up. Ain't quite got as many bees as I need. It's got enough I'm just going to start with one frame tomorrow with not a whole lot of cells on it. That's plenty to start a frame with. I'll probably swap the frame out and graft again a day or two later. Probably shake some more bees in. In the meantime, them cap frames will start to emerge out and really start to populate that hive. This side has got a foundation. I give them a little bit to draw, a frame to draw on. Probably swap that out in a couple of days. Give them a fresh one to draw. If you don't put anything to draw for them, they will just really draw wax on that cell frame and really stick those cells together. It's hard to get them apart and get them cleaned up. So I give them something to draw on. Got a undrawn foundation in the middle there that I'll pull out and replace with my cell frame when I graft tomorrow. But that's a good population of bees to get one frame started. We'll start on that tomorrow. I was worried about some of these hives here in this yard. Got some singles sitting on a few of these singles here. Got new queens in them from last fall. I was really worried about these maybe either have just recently swarmed or getting ready to swarm. And this is kind of shape that they're in. Not quite the swarming, but they are within a week or so of having swarm cells in. There's 10 frames full of brood in here. Of course, there's some patchy spots of pollen and a little bit of honey in there. But for the most part, there's a box full of brood and bees. Starting to see there's some good queen cups drawn in there, and found one with an egg in it, so they're getting ready. Here's a good sign too that they are starting to prepare. There's a sheet full of drone larvae. A lot of that's capped. A lot of it is just now starting to get capped. That side just got a bunch of larvae, but they are getting really close to getting some queen cells in there and swarming. It's still a couple weeks away before I start making splits. So this is just a prime example of what I'll do to give room. The best thing to do with this would be to take your second deep box. I got one sitting there ready to put on this hive. Best thing to do would be to grab some of this brood here, move it to the middle of that box, put some empty frames down here, and kind of separate that brood between the boxes a little bit, where it's not quite as full in a box. They do better at expanding outwards rather than taking that full box and just expanding up. It helps a little bit with swarming, but I'm not going to take the time to do that through all these. I'm going to be splitting in a couple weeks, and I think we're going to be just fine. I got boxes full of drawn comb that I'm putting on them. If they're not quite to the point of getting ready to swarm like this one, I'll put a whole box of drawn comb. That way they'll be a little bit ahead. In a couple weeks when we get to making splits, I'll have more frames that I can split. But a box like this is getting ready to swarm, they'll fill them 10 frames right there, 10 new drawn frames. They'll fill them up with brood pretty fast, and it could still get ready to start swarming before I wind up getting to them, whether it be 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now. So to counter that a little bit, I'll take a couple of these frames of drawn comb out, maybe three or four maybe, and add some foundation in. That'll give them some foundation to draw and buy me a little bit more time to get back over here and get splits pulled off of these before they do swarm. As I talked about before, as you go through the springtime, through the flow, that's when you can really get some frames drawn out, and take advantage of that. Use that time to get extra frames drawn, because you really, it's hard to do it the rest of the year outside of the flow. You can do it by feeding. A lot of people can get them drawn in the fall, have a fall flow. You can get some drawn, but nothing like during your honey flow. So the best way to do that is pull some of these brood frames up, move them up into that box, and kind of checkerboard them in the brood. That's the fastest place to get it drawn, is down in that brood. Today I'm just gonna set these boxes on top, but I still got drawn comb in, and I'll still checkerboard new foundation. I won't put them together, won't put them on the outside. I'm gonna move them in the middle and checkerboard them like that. I'm not putting two together. Just kind of skipping through, putting kind of in the middle, and that'll get them drawn quicker rather than being on the outside. And then it also works a lot better than putting two foundations together. Just separate them one at a time in the middle of that box. But if you take the time to pull some of that brood out, move it up, I'd move about 4 of those frames of brood up into the middle of this box, and take those foundations and checkerboard them down in the bottom, or half in the bottom, half in the top. Don't separate your brood too much, but you can put those foundations up against the brood nest on the outside, maybe one on each outside of the brood there, and same way up top. And those will get drawn really fast right up against that brood. You can also take, if you got a good population of bees, spread that brood apart right in the middle of the brood and put just one right in the middle of the brood. That won't separate that cluster of bees too much. You got to keep that in mind when you still got cold nights, of not separating the brood is too much to where you have trouble with your population clustering tightly around the brood to keep them warm at night. So that's one thing to keep in mind here early in the springtime. Another thing that I'm doing this round through, first time I'm really opening up any hives, just adding these, just basically going through adding second deeps on what don't have it. But one of the big things I'm doing is, say this hive right here, for instance, only had about 2 frames of bees, maybe just a little more. One good frame of brood. I'm gonna add some bees in that one. The double deeps that I've got everywhere, I'm cracking the box open, peeking in, make sure it's got a good population, and that's all I'm worried about at this point. And all my singles, I'm getting a second deep box put on those. But if they have a low population like this one right here did, it's just they went into the winter time with probably a frame of bees, and it's going to take them a long time to catch up and to start really growing fast. So to speed that up, now it could be a failing queen, and we'll find that out. But right now I'm going to give them a chance. What I'll do is take one of these stronger double deeps. I'll pull a couple of frames, 2, maybe 3 frames of cap brood out, and maybe shake a frame or 2 of nurse bees in, and that's what I've done here. And that'll give them a good boost in population. Start getting some more foragers there here in the next few days to start bringing more nectar in and pollen, and more coverage for your frames of brood, so that queen can start to spread out and lay more, and that'll really jumpstart these weaker colonies. And as time goes on, we come around 2 or 3 weeks making splits, we will notice a failing queen. If at that point, if she don't have a good amount of brood, and good looking, a decent brood pattern, then we'll know that she's failing. But I'll just move some cap brood over and give them a boost right now is all I'm worried about. A lot of people will equalize their colonies this time of year. They'll go through and equalize them out, and that's really important to a lot of beekeepers, but it's not that important to me. I don't see, it's just not worth it taking that extra time at this point in the season. I'll get weak colonies boosted up, and that's all I'm doing right now. As far as equalizing, I'll do that when we make splits, because I'm gonna leave behind the same amount of bees in each box. I'll have a target number of frames of bees and brood that I'll leave behind, and everything else will be pulled for splits. And at that point, everything's going to be equalized. So I just, there's no sense in me doing it now. I may pull less frames out of one hive when I make a split and get a lot more out of another one, and that's fine. That eliminates me having to take that time to go through and equalize now. There's a little bit of benefit to doing it ahead of time, but to me it's not worth it. I'll get my hives equalized out when we make splits, and everything will be caught up at that point and ready to go into the major part of the nectar flow. This is cherry laurel. It started blooming. This is probably about through. There are still a few bees on it. It's a little bit too windy for them to stay on these blooms very good right now, but they are flying around it. I seen some of the newer blooms, just not in the sunlight as much as these are. Bloomed a little later. It's got a good amount of bees on them. Bees are bringing in some nectar, and this is going to be part of it. This cherry laurel. If you're in central Alabama, you're probably seeing some nectar right now coming off of cherry laurel.